This is Omar Nashashibi in Washington, D.C. with an update on the U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs and the tariff exclusion process for Chinese imports. The U.S. and the European Union announced recently that they will come to a solution on the Section 232 steel and aluminum tariffs by November 1, moving up their previously stated deadline of December 1st. This timeline makes sense to many who see the G20 meetings on October 27th through the 30th as a key marker for this administration, as the president will meet with his European, Japanese, and Chinese counterparts, among others, during those meetings. We are cautioning clients, however, that a solution does not mean an outright lifting of the 25% tariff on imported steel and 10% on aluminum. Conversations continue about how to develop an import program that still protects domestic steel and aluminum producers, but that could still include some other type of restrictions or monitoring regime. So we continue to watch the situation closely, but do expect to continue to hear more as talks develop between the United States and the European Union throughout September and into early October ahead of those meetings and the new November 1 deadline. On the China side, there is a little active discussion to lifting the tariffs. There really are no discussions at all. We've only had two meetings between the U.S. and the Chinese at high levels. And our understanding is that they're not really even talking about the lifting of the tariffs at this time, focused on other areas. But here at home in Washington, we definitely know the pressure is increasing on the USTR to either lift the tariffs or create some type of a tariff exclusion process similar to the regime that was instituted under the previous administration. But many of us who both follow closely politics and policy here in Washington, we did not expect President Joe Biden to come in and immediately lift the 25% tariff and 7.5% tariffs on Chinese imports immediately. Nor did we expect him to lift them unilaterally in his first year, let alone right when he came into office. And some of us remain skeptical he'll lift them at all through 2022. But pressure has increased in recent weeks and months for the U.S. Trade Representative to restart the tariff exclusion process that is now closed. The process allowed U.S. importers to petition the USTR to grant an exclusion for the imported Chinese product from paying the tariff. If granted, any company who imported that product no longer had to pay the tariff on that import for roughly 12 months. Companies could then petition to extend that exclusion prior to its expiration. Right now, there is no process, and tariffs are back in place on roughly 7,000 imported Chinese products. The tariffs fall on products that appear on one of four lists. The 25% rate applies to lists 1, 2, and 3, and 7.5% tariff rate applies to list 4A. In December 2020, the U.S. imposed tariffs. As of December 2020, the tariffs that the U.S. imposed under the Section 301, those lists 1, 2, 3, and 4A, that tariff number accounted to roughly $460 billion worth of Chinese imports on products appearing on those lists. So $460 billion worth of trade goods moving back and forth that are subject to those tariffs under the Section 301 instituted by the previous administration that again remain in place today without an exclusion process currently open right now. Stakeholders are undertaking significant lobbying efforts here in town to have USTR restart the process that has now been closed since 2020. We have roughly 99 remaining exclusions still in effect out of thousands, and those expire September 30th. 40 senators and 102 representatives in the U.S. House sent a letter to USTR recently urging them to restart the process. Senators included language even in a China supply chain bill that passed that would extend expired exclusions and force USTR to restart the program. However, we're hearing the House is not supportive of that unilateral step, but we do know the pressure is increasing for USTR to provide some relief to U.S. manufacturers and distributors who import from China. So that Senate language is not moving as of now, but there are still going to be ongoing discussions throughout the summer. Most likely at the end of September, we'll have a better idea. And hopefully by then, you might even have a better sense of the direction in which USTR might or might not go on these exclusions. If USTR does reopen the exclusion portal, we do expect some changes, and the Nonpartisan Government Accountability Office issued a July 2021 report on USTR's internal procedures for making tariff exclusion and extension decisions. This could help provide some insight into the process at USTR and potential changes if they were to reopen the exclusion portal in the coming weeks or months. The GAO report found that from 2018 to 2020, U.S. importers submitted roughly 53,000 exclusion requests to USTR for specific products, of which 46,000 USTR denied. That is an 87% rejection rate for lists 1, 2, 3, and 4A. For products that secured an exclusion, USTR did not extend 70% of those tariff exclusions that it had granted and allowed them to expire, meaning that 25% or 7.5% tariffs went back into effect. So those are pretty significant rejection rates. You've got 87% for those that are up for the first time, and those that sought a renewal, or as we call an extension of their exclusion through one of the different processes that were out, and that was a 75% rejection rate for those. And that's how we have tariffs back in place after the expiration of many of those, with the exception of the 99 that remain out there right now, and that's only temporary. Of those 87% applications rejected, USTR said that 69% of the requesters failed to show that tariffs caused them severe economic harm, and another 23% did not demonstrate that the product was only available in China. We are hearing that the severe economic harm test is one that would receive additional emphasis from this USTR were they to restart the process. We are also hearing that USTR may ask for further information on what the company has done since imposition of the tariffs to find sources other than China. The GAO report said that USTR evaluated each exclusion request on a case-by-case basis using several factors, including product availability outside of China and the potential economic harm of the tariffs. According to USTR officials, no one factor was essential to grant or deny a request, according to the report. The GAO reviewed selected exclusion cases files and found inconsistencies, though, in the agency's reviews. For example, USTR did not document how reviewers should consider multiple requests from the same company, and GAO's case file review found USTR performed these steps inconsistently. Another case file lacked documentation to explain USTR's final decision. With this new GAO report, we will be interested to see if it leads the USTR to move forward and reopen the portal, make changes, or announce its next steps. We know many are anxious to hear what USTR will do to restart the exclusion process, and we'll keep you posted on any developments coming out from here in Washington, D.C. In the interim, please contact your CLA representative for more information on trade, supply chain disruptions, and how they affect your business.